Right. Hello. Uh, Nice to meet you. Um, I'm with Anthony Cohen from Plato Gold Corp, CEO and founder of Plato Gold Corp. And today we're going to get into a little bit about the company and what they've been up to. So uh, let's just start at the top. Can you give us a brief overview of Plato?
Sure. Good morning, Matthew. Nice to meet you, and happy to be here with you today. Starting at the top, I guess from as they say, a 30,000-foot level, Plato Gold Corp has 7 properties. Our original 4 properties are all in the Timmins or Harker Holloway Gold Camp, located about 45 minutes by car east of Timmins, Ontario. The nearest town is actually Matheson, Ontario, and the 4 properties line up from west to east along Golden Highway 101, which is a famous highway in northern Ontario, which winds its way through the gold camp into Quebec, into the Rouen, Noranda, Val d'Or gold camp. So a lot of mines, a lot of mining activity in the area. Our 4 properties are all very close to, if not adjacent to, either existing, currently operating mines or historic mines. So very well located infrastructure everywhere. As you may have seen, we began a small drilling program on a Marriott property. Our Marriott property is a very large property. It's about 26 or 2,700 hectares. It straddles the Ontario-Quebec border. Golden Highway 101 runs through the north of it. There's some logging roads on the property, and in fact, the drill rig managed to get to the drill site location on one of those logging roads. Plenty of water nearby, so you've got everything you need. The Marriott property is about 11 kilometers east of the Holt McDermott and Holloway gold mines, both more than million-ounce producers. It's also about 6 kilometers northeast of the Harker gold mine, a historic gold mine. There's faults and splay faults on the property, sulfides, everything that you want to see in terms of carrying the minerals many years ago up through the cracks towards the surface. So it's a good property to be drilling, looking for gold. And there have been previous gold programs which have found gold on the property. So that's where we're currently operating right now. But moving west, we've got, so that covers our 4 gold properties. Moving west, in the Marathon area, we've got 2 properties, including our flagship property, which is our Good Hope niobium project. Good Hope is a recent property. I optioned it in 2017. In 2018, we did a large 5,000-meter drill program, 9 holes, 100-meter spacing, and we hit carbonatites. We discovered a massive carbonatite discovery there. It's so far 500 meters by 500 meters by 500 meters. All 9 drill holes have niobium values, good niobium values, as well as good P2O5 or phosphate values. Phosphates, actually, I wasn't even aware of this until quite recently. Not only are they used in fertilizer, but they're also used in a new type of EV battery, a lithium iron phosphate battery. So that's gaining in popularity, and so that's another use for phosphate. Niobium is one of the critical metals, as described by the US military, Canadian government, UK government, the EU, etc. Very, very valuable mineral, which is used in everything from military applications to being used in quantum computing chips, to being used at CERN outside of Geneva, the Hadron Collider, some of your viewers might be familiar with. I was fortunate enough attending a conference in Geneva in October of 2022 to be given a tour of CERN, and it's just an incredible place. It's the largest scientific facility in the world. It is underground between Switzerland and France, and niobium virtually coats everything in there because of its properties. So we heard the word niobium used a lot as the scientists there were giving us the tour. It's also used in EV batteries, coating anodes and cathodes in new EV batteries. And of course, about 85% of it is used in the steel making process, making steel both stronger and lighter. So many uses for the metal. We, as I said, have some very good intercepts, like wide and good grade. So we're looking forward to further developing this property. I think our company is very undervalued. I mean, I can think of one exploration company that has a market cap, in the hundreds of millions, who are sort of comparable to us in terms of being in this space. So I think that we have good upside here. Our last two properties are one in Marathon, which is adjacent to the Generation Mining Project, which is a platinum group elements and copper project, and we're along one of the western boundaries of that project. It's a virgin property. There's been no work done to it other than our work. And we did a flyover last year, and the radiometric survey came up with some nice anomalies. So we have to do some more prospecting, geophysical, and rock sampling on the property, and then get our drill targets. Finally, our last property is in Santa Cruz, Argentina. It was brought to me by truly one of the most successful geologists in Argentina. He's made many discoveries, and he brought me this property in 2007. There were some serious political problems in Argentina for about 5 years or so, and the country basically was shut down for foreign mining ventures. Not that it was officially shut down, but people just didn't want to go to Argentina during that time. But things have changed, and Argentina is actually very popular right now. And we have this property drill ready. We did IP survey. We did a mag survey after prospecting a couple times, doing the geochemistry, taking lots of rock samples. And we have some fabulous targets. We also have some precious metals deposits right on our boundaries to the west, to the south, and to the southeast. And the structures which we identified on the property and which are on neighboring properties run across our property. So, you never know until you start drilling, but we're definitely in a great location there in Argentina. And we are trying currently to raise some money for that. And we would hope in the next year, that's the goal anyway, to do a drill campaign on that property, because it's also virgin. No one has done anything on it. And given that our neighbors have some very interesting precious metals deposits, silver and gold, we're in the right neighborhood there as well. And to sum up, all 7 of our properties are close to infrastructure, meaning roads, water, electricity. So we're in very good position with all our properties, which is very important, because as you know, if you have a discovery in the middle of nowhere, someone has to build the roads, the highways, etc. Or if you access by helicopter or plane, that gets very expensive after a few trips. So we're well located with all our properties. So that's a summary of the company. And again, I'd emphasize our flagship property is the Good Hope niobium property.
So with that was about to be my follow-up with the new drill program starting, and there are several other properties. The flagship still remains the same, but will there be more activity to be expected across the other properties in the coming quarters, because there's a little bit more fires in the iron, so to speak?
I think so. A lot of it has to do, of course, with commodities markets, and we're in kind of a strange time right now, because the metals prices, even if you go over into oil and gas, the prices for all the commodities aren't bad right now. I mean, we're nowhere near sort of the basement that we were, several years ago. The prices have recovered, but the equity markets, are not that excited about the natural resource extraction industries. You're just looking at, for example, in oil and gas, you've got historic low multiples, low value of reserves. In the mining industry, kind of similar. You've got, you've got some majors in terms of gold mining, that have attractive dividend yields. And, that's odd. Usually, the major gold companies had very, very low dividend yields, very, very high price to earnings multiples. And, that's not the case today. And then the juniors, there's just, almost no interest. So, I think we will be in a bull market for the metals in the next, who can forecast, but, in the near term, next year or two, I think we are going to go into a bull market because the demand is there. The prices are not bad and probably will go up. And, because there hasn't been the investment like in the past. It's been hard to raise exploration dollars. So we use all these materials and, eventually you need to find more. And, we haven't been doing the investment the last several years. So I think we are coming into a good time. And I think for people, who are patient, as Warren Buffett says, buy things, be greedy when other people aren't interested or are pessimistic, because that's when you get things for the cheapest price. So, I think it will be a good time coming up for the industry.
Yes, and when investors do start looking for projects, there's certainly plenty of options. I think the geographical diversity and diversity of the projects in general is potentially one of the biggest advantages to the company. But are there some things that Plato Gold looks for in a project that have commonalities as a ethos to exploration and potential?
Yeah, that's a good question. If you look at every one of our properties, as I mentioned before, we have infrastructure in place. So that makes it, very, very good in terms of access, which is important because, I don't want to mention by name other projects, but you know them. There's some that are famous that have great potential for having a lot of metal, but because there's no infrastructure, nothing's happening, and nothing's happened for many, many years. Because you're talking in some cases billions of dollars in order to actually get the stuff, from the mine site to markets. So, we are in places that have the roads and railways and water and mining culture, etc. So that's really important. The other thing we have that's unique to us, I think, with all our properties, we're either adjacent to or very close to either existing mines or existing deposits. And, there's a saying in the industry, the best place to look for a mine is near a headframe or near another mine. In fact, one of the most famous discoveries, probably of all time, is in Nevada by Barrick Gold in the early 80s. That, was one of the richest gold deposits ever found. And it was right beside Newmont's mine in Nevada. And, Newmont, I'm sure at the time, was not very happy because this was right in their backyard and they missed it. And Barrick had a very, very smart geologist who figured out how to find the gold and how to extract it. And Barrick became, at one time, the world's largest gold company. So it is, a good place to look where there's other mines because that means the geology is there. Finally, the other thing we look for is good politics. And, Ontario is one of the mining jurisdictions in the world. the gold camps there and the industrial metals camps there are, world class. There's good infrastructure in a lot of the places in the province, and certainly where we are, Timmins and Marathon. And actually, Santa Cruz is the top mining province in Argentina. So although the country in the past had some problems, the country's looking much better now, much more promising for mining. And we are in the best province in the country in terms of politics. They're very, very pro-mining in Santa Cruz. So, I think that differentiates us. We're in very good mining jurisdictions. We're in places with infrastructure, and we're in places that actually have mines. So good place to look. And then finally, with our flagship niobium project, a lot of people don't realize there's only 3 mines in the world producing niobium. 2 in Brazil, which account for 93% of the world's niobium, and 1 in Quebec. So it's very, very country specific to Brazil. And only 3 mines producing this very important metal. So I think we're very unique being in that space.
Do you think there's potential along those lines with larger discoveries and other progress that this could change some of the debt market dynamics for niobium over the long term? Is it big enough for that?
Yeah, I think so. I think, for example, when I was in Rio de Janeiro in September, I was approached by a lot of people, interested in our project. People looking to actually buy the metal, and I wish we were advanced enough that we're at the stage where we could actually supply them, because I was really approached by a lot of people in Rio. So, I think there's very good demand. The industry figures I've seen is something like 20% growth over the next 3 years. It could be more. This metal is ubiquitous. For example, I remember reading when Elon Musk sent the SpaceX rocket up, when it came back down into the Earth's atmosphere, the nose cone is tipped with or covered with niobium. So, lots of diverse usages.
Certainly. And to touch on sort of what you mentioned about Ontario, and there's plenty of advantages there, a lot of activity coming out of the province from multiple companies. What are some of the potential key milestones or targets for the Marriott Gold property that the company might have over the coming quarters that investors would watch for?
Well, if everything in this business, unfortunately, comes down to a hole. If you get, a wide intersection of mineable grade gold, that's a company changer. So all of a sudden, if you get really good numbers, the market's going to take notice. And I think it'll especially take notice in a place like the Marriott property, where you've got all the infrastructure in place, and it's in a very good mining community. I'm in discussions with the First Nations there, and they realize we're just a junior company. We don't have a lot of resources, but if something can become a major project, then it can be very good for everybody in all communities. Plato, as a policy, we try to use Aboriginal or Indigenous companies and contractors wherever possible, and we've used them many times in the past in many of our projects. So it's great because the entrepreneurs and the Aboriginal community start companies. They provide valuable service. We employ them for those services, so their businesses grow, our business grows, and it's win-win for everybody. So it's very positive, and it gives back to the community. And of course, we operate by the highest environmental standards. We want to make sure that all our contractors, are bonded and are very responsible environmentally. So again, we try to make it a very high quality win-win work situation for everybody, and that way everybody benefits.
Certainly. We will certainly be covering the updates and the progress from that project and the many others from Plato over the coming months. But if investors want to get in touch with the company or learn more about Plato Gold, how should they do so?
Well, I'll give you my personal cell phone, 416-948-8427. So people can pick up the phone and call me, or I've got a very easy email address to remember, Cohen, Cohen, that's my name, at platogold.com. So it doesn't get much simpler than that.
There we go, the direct line to the top brass himself. Thank you for taking the time, and I'm sure we'll be speaking again soon.
Okay, gracias.